All right, so it's a weekend and it's in the fall, and this post is literally going out to the parents, coaches, trainers, and the student athletes who are currently seniors. Okay, so and I say seniors because for different sports it could be juniors or sophomores, but we're just going to talk about seniors for right now. And what we're talking about is communicating and getting yourself out there to the coaches at college. And that's less difficult now that you're a senior. If you were trying to communicate with Division III coaches before your senior year, that's a lot easier. But the timeline and all the now it's you can talk, now you can't talk, and now you can communicate this way and that way and the other way, and you can't then, and here and there and whatever. It's confusing. The NCAA has so many rules, and apparently they're meant to protect you, but unfortunately what they do for a lot of parents, coaches, trainers, and the student athletes themselves is it gets complicated. It's confusing, and we understand that. Unfortunately, that doesn't give you the opportunity or the excuse to legitimately use that as a way or a reason why you didn't get through to a coach, or you didn't get in front of somebody who you're supposed to get in front of, somebody that you're committed to, or you say that you're committed to actually playing for. So for starters, you want to look at this as if almost like you're a salesperson from maybe the movie The Boiler Room, or maybe from maybe The Wolf of Wall Street is not appropriate. But the point is, you got to think of yourself as a salesperson, or at least at minimum a marketer. And so you can look at some of the different resources that are out there, like Go Big Recruiting, or NCSA, or CSA Prep Stars, or the list. There's a long list. There's a ton of places out there. But the point is, you need to get through. So if you're a parent, make sure your student athlete watches this. Same thing if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, because it's going to be easier. Or, you know what? Memorize what I'm telling you, take notes on it, and then relate that information back to them. If you're somebody that they see as credible, that they're going to listen to. If you're not, then don't waste your time and energy, because they're not going to take action on it. And if you're the student athlete, you don't need to relate it to anybody other than yourself. So the first thing I want to start off with is, if you're going to look at this as if you're a salesperson or a marketer, then you need to approach it the same way. So you need to have a spreadsheet. And some people are going to say, oh, this is extreme, this is, whatever. Get off the video right now then. Do yourself that favor, okay? If this sounds like it's too much of a process for you, then go and do whatever you want and end up wherever you end up. Because it might not be where you think that you want to go, because you need to be professional about this. You need to approach it as if it's a real opportunity. And a real opportunity needs to be tracked. You need to be professional about the way that you communicate. You need to know what you communicated. You need to know what they communicated. You need to make sure that there's deadlines and there's times to follow up. And you need to prove to them that you're somebody responsible that they'd want to have on their team. You also need to make sure that you get yourself in front of the people that you think that you want to actually continue to grow with and work with, and you think that you have an opportunity to contribute to their team, and then what you have, that you want to have for an experience in your future, and the things and the ways that you want to grow at that school. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. College is a great opportunity, but it is what you make of it. And so, unfortunately, nobody's necessarily going to, find you or see you if you don't put yourself consistently in front of them enough to make it not a cold call when you send an email or you actually try to call them on the phone. They probably get a ton of different calls and emails. So before you do that, and this is where some parents are going to be upset, but before you do that, social media can be a huge resource. If you have social media. If you don't have social media, that's going to be a problem. So if you're the parent that said, well, I'm not going to let my kid on social media because I want to keep them away from predators, and well, that's fine. I don't want them making a mistake on there and it's going to cost them. Okay, well, you're also missing out on a great opportunity. Look at it like it's a credit card, basically. Okay, well, you can teach your kids how to set up a bank account, how to use a credit card, how to be responsible. If you're a parent that says, well, I don't want to be irresponsible with it and then put themselves in a bad spot. Well, that's great, but eventually they're going to have that opportunity and that freedom on their own. So you can also look at it as if it's like, okay, well, I don't want my kid to go to a party where they have to make a decision and whether or not they're going to be responsible, or whether or not they're going to, get into underage drinking or other whatever. You get the point. At some point, you have to trust your student athlete to make the right decision, and you have to give them those opportunities to make these small decisions while you're still there so that they can actually grow. Otherwise, later on, when they get these opportunities, who knows what they're going to do, and it's going to be a much bigger decision. Now, back to the social media. If they don't have social media, unfortunately, they missed an opportunity to share an awful lot of content and who they are so that somebody can go online and get a good representation of what kind of person they are. So it's never too late to start. You can start your senior year, that's completely fine. You want to post things that are relevant, things that communicate who you are. You want to make sure that you understand that everything that you put out there, don't put on a show, but everything that you put out there is a representation of who you are. And when they look at it, they're going to look at it like it's almost like a book. And so each page kind of builds up that character. And so they get to kind of read about your story. They see who you're connected with. They see who's commenting on things. They see, the ways that your parents interact with you and stuff like that, stuff that they share, which is also why I said, parents, be careful what you're sharing. So the way that social media is really helpful is the NCAA is a little bit more lenient on, as long as it's a public message, the communication that can take place between a program and or coaches and or players and the student athlete that's in high school. So you can follow a coach and really see and their program and see really kind of the communications that they're putting out there and what type of an environment it is, at least on social media. And then that way also they start to see those likes, or whoever's in charge of the social media content. Sometimes it's a player, sometimes it's an assistant coach, whatever. The point is somebody gets you in front of them. And then if you can find out who's managing content, which is usually not that difficult to find, you got to do a little research, but then you can see who it is that's paying attention to you, getting on there and hitting the like button. Don't just hit like, and don't just hit like a thumb up or a heart or whatever. Like, get on there and like add value to something, like by saying, oh wow, that was a really nice goal by so-and-so. I like how she hit blah, blah, blah. And then maybe mention something technical. It's okay to showcase, like you don't want to just do it and just be, just superficial. But like really put it out there, and then they start to see, oh, he has an appreciation of the game. And they have a high sports IQ or whatever. Like they can see that there's an intelligence there, that you're committed, that and you can reference other things in there. And then they start going back to your page and they can check and see what you're doing. So maybe they can't reach out to you yet, but if you're a senior now, they can. So, but they might not answer that cold call. And this is where this comes into play. So you try to cold call them or cold email them, you might not get a response. So some people will just keep doing that. Then the other thing is they don't track it. You have to track your communication. Then, and I'll put this in the next video because this is a whole separate video, but then you got to be prepared what if they pick up the phone? For some of you, that's scary. Some of you have no idea what to say on the phone, no idea how to interact, no idea what you're looking for, no idea to be clear with your communication, no idea to know really, how to really market yourself and promote yourself. So, and here's the other thing too, is you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay? The whole process is probably going to be uncomfortable unless your parents own a business or they're higher up in a business and they're maybe, a chief executive officer or something along those lines where they have to make some decisions and they're used to that, and you're brought into the fold with understanding what they do. So if that's the situation, you might not be as uncomfortable. But for the rest of you, it may be uncomfortable, almost like that first time that you told somebody you liked them, that you hoped would be, a boyfriend or girlfriend, or that first time that you went to a dance and you asked somebody to dance, or